What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Between the Cons. My name's Chris, and with me today, the Outlaw Steve Jr. You just hit the microphone. The Outlaw Steve Jr. just shot his microphone and will now be silent for the rest of the episode. Anyways, that's not silent. That's just making noise with your mouth closed.
What's up, y'all?
Anyways, thanks for tuning in today. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us on your daily commute or your lounge around the house or your errands, whatever you're doing. Thanks for hitting us up on the internet this week, for leaving reviews on the iTunes store, all that goodness. We appreciate that. We got some nerdy news for you folks. So let's get right into pineapple.
We're going to have a pineapple situation. What should I do? Pineapple. The word that cannot be spoken. Pineapple.
Just want to say pineapple. If
Pineapples are fun. My dad used to throw them at me.
Pineapple.
Seriously? Wow.
All right, guys. So, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Volume 2.
I'm sorry. Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, I was getting there. All
you
right.
You have version 2 in your notes. I was just making sure.
I had V2.
Guardians of the Galaxy version 2.
Yeah, well, that's not any of your fault, is it? How dare I? So, Karen Gillan, I believe it's Gillan. Gillan?
No, she's...
Gillan?
No, Gillan.
Well, she's Scottish, right? So, isn't it Gillan?
You just choked at the end of a French accent. That's not how the Scottish accent works.
Sorry, I'm eating linguine. So the
Nope, not that either.
Stop telling them what I am. Stop telling them what I am and am not doing. All right. So Karen Gillan says that we should gear up for an expanded story arc of her character, Nebula,
Blue Robot Lady.
Yeah, the big-headed lady. Why? Like it's the makeup, I know, but her head looks way bigger than everybody else's in the I guess because it's bald.
Yeah,
and she's like shorter, so they have to skew her a little bit.
It also has the metal plates.
Yeah,
painted on it, so it might just be movie magic.
Yeah. So anyway, Karen Noggin
nailed it.
She said she was really excited. She got to take the character into kind of some idyllic places for this. So we're going to get to see a little bit more of a story arc for Nebula. We're going to see the turmoil with her father, how she's kind of, she's not fully alive. She's not fully inhuman. So it's going to be good because Nebula is such a big part of the Avengers mythos. It's going to be nice to see her more. Deeper, better, faster, stronger. So she also, and this is late breaking. This happened today at about whatever
o'clock.
This happened, whatever o'clock. She has confirmed that Nebula will appear in Infinity War and Avengers 4. So stick with me.
Okay.
Bearing in mind how big, bearing in mind how big of a villain she is in the Avengers universe, maybe we're looking at her being the main villain in Avengers 4, or at least one of a couple main villains after Daddy loses, because that's bound to happen. What do you think?
No, Thanos is gonna win.
Thanos is gonna win in Infinity War?
Yeah. I read the first half of Infinity Gauntlet, dude. There's no way the heroes are making a comeback.
He's not coming back. What is this, DC? What up?
If my microphone wasn't on a stand, I would drop it right now.
I wouldn't drop it. It's expensive. I wouldn't drop it.
Gently on a pillow, I would set it down.
I would said ludicrous to the crowd of 5. Pineapple.
So Charlie Cox, the guy that plays Daredevil on the Netflix series Daredevil, he was interviewed by TV Guide, I think it was. No, that's later. That's later in my notes. He was interviewed, and they kind of asked a lot about, like, so the Defenders is coming up. How did you prep? What kind of things can we expect? All this. And he said in his preparation, he bought an issue of the Defenders because he thought, why, like, there's no better place to study than the source material for the Defenders. Problem being is that the Defenders comic book is a totally different cast of characters than what is coming to Netflix. So Daredevil is, how do you say, not involved. So he said that was super confusing for him. He didn't really know what to do there. So he kind of took, before Civil War, Captain America Civil War came out, he picked up Marvel's Civil War event and read through that. And though Daredevil's not a huge character, he does have a pretty pivotal role in the plan. I'll leave it at that. So trying to get an idea of how Daredevil plays into like a team up scenario. He also picked up the Luke Cage Daredevil team up issue, and this is the most important part of this pineapple point. He picked up the Luke Cage Daredevil team up and saw a picture of Luke Cage and Daredevil with his mask like pulled up a little, eating cheeseburgers sitting on a roof, just like feet.
Yeah, it's like,
huh?
I said it's iconic. You know, Luke Cage drinking his cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Daredevil eating a cheeseburger.
Yeah,
sitting on top of like a building that's not constructed, like under construction building.
Yeah, and he said that he wants to do that in the series now. Like at some point in Daredevil, he wants that scene to happen. And I everything I saw about it, I mean, it got blown way up when everybody saw it, or when the interview released. Everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" But like, it's not gonna work because the Netflix shows are pretty dark. It's like, that's a really bold statement. I think, like, you're saying that a show is so dark that we can't have like a quick shot of like them refueling. Like, he's just eating. Like, they could be talking about some serious stuff. I don't really care what they're talking about. But they have to
Wilson
eat.
Fisk ate all the time.
Yeah.
He was always, and it was always really fancy. Like, and he had a napkin. That's like, that should be boring. And it was riveting. So tell those guys to shut up.
Yeah. And my biggest thing is, it's like everybody's saying it's too dark to do that. Too dark of a show to do that. And I think I disagree. I think that would be a really cool nod to the fans. And there's a way that we can do it. Wow. There's a way that it can be done in a moment where it's not like ruining the mood. Like, the mood can be like more uplifting mood or whatever it needs to be, and it can still work. But I think it'd be really cool to see, just because that's such a like iconic picture of Luke Cage and Daredevil.
I love that picture. I have that picture hanging above my desk. I don't. I don't.
But I would if I did. Pineapple.
All right. Ocean's 8. If you haven't heard of this little film, it is a soft reboot, I think is what it's called, of the Ocean's... What? You're going to say soft.
Spin-off?
Yeah. I'm not sure what the difference between a soft reboot and a spin-off are, but I was corrected on several websites trying to figure out what y-
Just lesson
You
of
get-
the day: do not Google search soft reboot.
But anyway, so Richard Armitage, you might remember him as Thorin from the Hobbit movie, The Hobbit and the Long Walk and the Adventure with the Dragon. He got picked up for Ocean's 8. He joins a cast of super exciting whoever's. We got Anne Hathaway, Sandra Bullock, Helena Bonham Carter, Mindy Kaling, Rihanna, Aquafina. Which, if you're not listening to Aquafina, go do it. It's funny, and it's not funny, but it's
No, it's fun. She's a
no,
comedian.
it's funny. Yeah, it's a humorous, fun music. Kate Blanchett, Sarah Paulson, for those American Horror Story fans, and let's see, James Corden, all sorts of folks. I read it on like 5 or 6. The Wrap had one of the late breaking stories. So, but anyway, I'm in love with this. Matt Damon is slated to reappear. George Clooney has said he might reappear. Like, it's gonna be a fun time, and the Ocean's movies are always so well written. Those classic like Entourage style movies. And now that they have Thorin, it should be oddly prettier than all the other dwarves.
I don't know, man. I don't know. There were a lot of good-looking dudes in. Wait, what are you talking about?
We're not talking about all the good-looking dudes in Ocean's 11s.
Oh, sorry.
Ocean's 11s. We're gonna go down to We're gonna go down to Trader Joe and Walmart's. Anyway. But yeah, I'm going to love this. I'm gonna watch it a couple times probably. I know that's a weird thing to predict, but it's Entourage, man. You don't get many like all-female Entourage movies where they're not like, what's her face, Melissa McCarthy. Like everybody has to be the funny one. Yeah, everybody has to be the funny one.
Yeah.
You know, Helena Bonham Carter is not funny, and she rarely tries to be funny. She just tries to be odd. And
I imagine
I'm
her
excited
being.
to see...
I imagine her being the Casey Affleck of the group.
Oh, sure. That maybe. Oh, what if we did? Let's quantify these people. Sandra Bullock is going to be George Clooney.
Obviously.
Let's see. Kate Blanchett is going to be the Matt Damon, I would say.
I would say Anne
Well,
Hathaway.
Awkwafina.
I would say Anne Hathaway is going to be. Awkwafina is going to be the Don
Basher.
Cheadle.
Yeah, Basher all
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great call. And James Corden is like an accountant. We already know. Mindy Kaling is going to be, maybe she'll be the second fiddle character to Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
That like funny duo. But, you know, throwing in Rihanna, maybe she's going to be the Basher character. Or maybe she'll be the Brad Pitt character. Maybe they'll stay away from the typecast. Pineapple.
So Gotham. This TV show is
Got ham.
Sam. This show is like one of the weirdest like Batman things, I think. One thing that just constantly reiterating the fact that because Gotham is a show inside the DCEU, it is in its own universe. So remember that. But this show's weird. It creates this huge age difference between a lot of characters that should be the same age as Bruce Wayne. Poison Ivy all of a sudden gained like a decade in age, like between 2 seasons. Doesn't really make any sense the way that they decided to do it. But all of that to say, a lot of people are really mad because they're great at ruining characters. I personally enjoy the show because it's really strange and outside of the normal Bruce Wayne Batman story. But all of that to say, in an interview with TV Guide, this is where it was, John Stevens, who's the executive producer of Gotham, answered a question about Harley Quinn. Obviously, Harley Quinn's been getting a lot of press in the last 6 months to a year due to Suicide Squad. So he was asked if Harley Quinn's going to make an appearance in Gotham. He said that we don't know for sure yet, but we might see her in episode 22 of this current season. That's oddly specific to attempt to be vague. It's like, I don't know yet, but the script is done, so check it out, March 14th. Boom. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually the date. But no, the season is taking like even a weirder stance, or like turn post mid-season break.
Spoiler.
Yeah, it's all over the internet. There's no way this is a spoiler. Jerome, who is one of the Joker-esque characters, one of the Gotham actually calls them the Jokers, like outside of the actual show, like all the people in production. He's one of the Jokers. He died last season. Somehow he's coming back. There's a picture floating around that looks very Frankenstein-esque. It's weird. I don't know if I want to see, like, Harley Quinn is really hit or miss for me. I know that she's kind of a staple in the Batman culture to a lot of people, but I don't know if I want to see her, one, in the show, two, get ruined by the show. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing. But if you want to see Harley and how they make her a part of this weird thing, episode 22, whenever that comes out, look it up. She might be there. Ooh.
Yeah. Who cares? You know, Gotham. Gotham is in my head like Agents of Shield.
Agents of Shield is so good now, though.
Yeah, but think of it this way. It's like that mixed with the Star Wars like prequels, where you are being forced to watch a bunch of stuff that you do not want to see, really, where everyone like that you love as an adult villain or as an adult hero is now a whiny baby brat, and then you gotta put up with it, like this snarling, like that Jerome character. He's on Shameless with William H. Macy, and he plays the gay son, and he's a really brilliant actor, and I've never seen him act brilliantly on Gotham. I've seen him be really weird and really like kind of like boogeyman scary, but I've never seen him like act well. But those shows, they're all the same to me, which doesn't mean they're not fun to watch. It just means I try not to put very much stock in what they do. I feel like you could put more stock in like Arkham Asylum, because at least that stuff's acted superbly through voice actors and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm sorry for elongating your pineapple point. Please forgive me.
Pineapple.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, guys. So Snatch. If you don't know Snatch, the Guy Ritchie movie, Brad Pitt, Jason Statham, just a ton of great. What?
I was gonna say before he was cool.
Who? Jason Statham? Yeah, Jason Statham before he was transporting things and cranking things and other things. So this is kind of a cool. It's kind of a cool idea. A lot of them seem much younger, but I guess that might not be totally true. It's just because I think of Jason Statham as like almost 50 now, but he was like 24 or so when the show came out, or when the movie came out. But Rupert Grint,
Ron
famous
Weasley.
as as Ron Weasley. Hello, I'm Ron Weasley. You sound like you're from London. So is gonna be in the whole season, and it's gonna be on Crackle, which is good for no one. It's going to be 10 episodes long, at least this first season. They keep calling it season 1. It's I mean, let's see how it goes. Just say like we don't know yet. But it's scheduled to air March 16th, and I cannot wait to watch some Snatch on the television.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something. It's just something about
pineapple. So Mike Coulter. Mike
that
Coulter,
made it into the show notes.
he was also, just so you guys know really quick, every other one of my notes is about the Defenders on Netflix. But I put other stuff between them to make it not seem like I just wanted to talk about one thing all day.
But they are written really fun. You have Daredevil to Luke Cage, and then you have Luke Cage to Iron Fist. Now,
yeah,
so
and then the last one is
in succession.
The last one is Iron Fist. I did
Iron
that
Fist
on purpose.
To Defenders as a whole. It's really nicely written. You don't have to hide behind some fake apology, Chris.
But I like fake apologies. Mike Coulter.
You're just like your dad.
Was talking about Luke Cage, talking about the upcoming Defender series, and for some stupid reason, somebody felt it necessary to say, well, at the end of season 1 of Luke Cage, spoiler alert, Luke gets arrested. I was like, is he gonna stay in jail the whole time of Defenders? It's like, dude, do you even know? And then he said, it's safe to say Cage is not going to spend the entire season of the Defenders behind bars. Boo. Dumb question. But he's talking about the relationship, the friendship that kind of flourishes with Iron Fist. And in talking about Danny Rand, played by Huck Finn. You're not gonna? Okay. I'm sticking with it. Danny Rand, played by Huck Finn. He says he's a young guy.
Just shaking my hand. Just shaking my head. That's all I'm doing.
Your hand?
My
He's
hand
a young
head.
guy. There's an exuberance that Iron Fist comes with that Luke Cage wants to temper a bit. It can't help but have a wisdom versus youth quality. Danny comes out like a bull in a china shop in some ways, and I think Luke has seen the world and knows certain things. It's a cool combination that works out. And then he goes on to point out the fact that Luke is the only member of the Defenders that is openly walking around as a hero. Daredevil wears a mask. Nobody really knows about Jessica Jones. Danny Rand, also in a mask. So I thought that was really interesting. I though glaringly obvious, I had never put it together that he was the only outed, air quotes, outed member of the Defenders. But I think that's really cool. I think that Luke Cage and Iron Fist, in Heroes for Hire, the comic book, they had a really cool relationship. They kind of played off each other, very, very much like Batman and Superman in a lot of the JLA New 52
Yeah, sure.
issues. So it's friendly, but at the same time, it's like lots and lots and lots of stabs at each other. So I'm really interested to see how that works out on the drama that is on Netflix, because I feel like that's not exactly their flavor, but at the same time, it takes me back to season 1 of Daredevil with Matt and Foggy kind of having that same rapport. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a really cool relationship really cool friendship to watch flourish on the big screen.
On the big screen of Netflix.
On the big screen of my house. Pineapple. Pineapple.
Oh, okay. Good news for dog lovers. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one.
That's the classified section. Whoops.
So I believe it was last Friday. It was the 14th. So Saturday. I don't know math or days. But we got news that Peter Dinklage, old Dinky Dinklage, which is really messed up. Wow, why did I say that? Oh gosh. I'm so sorry, Mr. Dinklage. If you're out there, you're not. I mean, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. Peter Dinklage is in talks to be added to the cast of Infinity War. If Infinity War is this movie that's coming out, it's going to have the Avengers in it and a lot of the other people in the Marvel
Avengers
Cinematic
3.
Universe. Yeah, everybody knows what it is. I'm being too explanatory.
You mansplaining
But anyway,
Infinity War to me.
oh yeah, mansplaining or explaining. I don't know what the digressing, backing up, moving on. It's like hangry. Like hangry is a thing that excuses people from having bad manners when they're hungry, and it's something that the internet created just to like thick about. But
Dupe.
What are you doing?
We're talking about Dupe.
What is dupe?
Dupe is the worst X-Force character that I really want to show up for some reason in Infinity War, played by Peter Dinklage.
You want Peter Dinklage to play dupe? I would like him.
He is the Slimer of the X-Force. Like,
I mean,
he is to
I want him
X-Force
to
what
play-
Slimer is to Ghostbusters. He's a green blob that rides a motorcycle. Like, who doesn't want Peter Dinklage to play that role?
I
Just
would
me?
say Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, that's
Peter Dinklage doesn't want Peter Dinklage to play that role. He is a Shakespearean trained actor.
He was trained by William Shakespeare?
Yes, Shakespearean Lee trained. Lee Shakespeare.
Who's Shakespearean Lee?
Oh, he live on Fifth Street. He love book. Anyway, so the opinion at large is that Peter Dinklage is in talks to become MODOK. I think that is a sound, fair assumption. It'd be a tough movie to have if you didn't have MODOK. However, I would love to see him as Puck from Alpha Flight.
Who wouldn't?
Because
But I feel like if Puck is
amazing.
I feel like if Puck is going to show up, it's going to be in a Deadpool movie for like that long enough for Deadpool to go on this like 5-minute rant about how Alpha Flight is the worst.
Oh yeah. Well, what was his name? Is it Abendigo? He was in there, right? And then was it Captain Canada? That's wrong. I know it's
Corporal.
North Star.
Corporal Canada, is that?
His name's North Star. I know
Yes.
it's North Star. But
The first openly
But,
gay
you know-
superhero?
yeah. But anyway, so coming back around, Peter Dinklage is going to be MODOK. He's going to be a great MODOK because he's horrifying. He is a person that is twice the man as any of us, while only being half our
Yay
size.
big.
And good night, San Diego. Pineapple.
Speaking of
Wait,
Deadpool
hold on.
2.
Hold on, wait. Pineapple. What's up?
Speaking of Deadpool 2, Rhett Reese, who is the writer for Deadpool 2, was talking about where they're gonna go, what they're gonna write with the what kind of direction they're gonna write the Deadpool 2 script in. Those are words.
Words are hard. Words are hard.
He said, there's a responsibility we have to the X-Force universe, and I do think we will not disappoint the fans going into Deadpool 2 and then setting up X-Force and beyond. He also mentions, they have the same, responsibility to X-Force that Marvel has to the MCU, because they've finally gotten something rolling on one of, the side characters in the X-Men area, that they need to start using that to set up more of that. But he says the movie's purpose is not to set up X-Force. It will likely set up X-Force, but the drive of the movie won't be having our eyes on the third movie, which I think is good. I think writing a movie with the only purpose of setting up the next movie is a terrible idea. It's like writing in a character whose only responsibility is to come back in a couple movies and have a medium-sized role.
Looking your way, every X-Men movie so far. Every X-Men.
But yeah, I think it's really exciting. There was a lot of controversy around Deadpool 2 with Tim Miller dropping out of the project, or leaving the project rather. So I think that this kind of brings the fans back around to a state of peace, for lack of better terms, because we kind of had it up in the air about, is this movie or is this movie not going to be a blockbuster blowout, huge, over the top, more than what we want, to the point where it ruins it kind of movie. And this kind of brings it back down to earth, saying no, it's not. It's going to be like the first one, but the second one, and we're probably going to set up X-Force somewhere in it. So that's cool. But yeah, I'm really excited to see Pineapple. Deadpool 2 Pineapple.
Dead Pineapple to the duck. All right, guys. So I realized, listening to some other episodes of the podcast this week, nobody ever gives anybody a box office recap. For those of us in this community, the people who love the movies, and maybe you don't always think to check, but I'm always checking on box office stuff. I don't know why I care so much, but I am. But I figured I'd throw in a box office recap. Chris, is that okay with you?
All
right. So
do not want you to do that. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I got tricked by a pirate. So Rogue One, Star Wars story, going into its 5th week, did 13.4 million. That brings its overall total to something like $494 billion. Million dollars.
Bajillion.
Bahoozy, what's $1 billion? Hidden Figures, the movie about African American astrophysicists in the 60s.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Hidden Fences from the Oscars.
Which is also in theaters, right?
Fences is. Hidden Fences is a misnomer that was called out during the Golden Globes.
And then Hidden Figures stays on top for the 2nd week. It went from 17th to 1st. That's pretty good. I guess they had a late
Golden
start.
Globes happened.
Yeah, they had a late start in some cities and stuff. And that brings us to 2 movies that should not be at all. Monster Trucks, which is a movie.
Yep.
if you didn't know about it, you don't need to, but I'm going to tell you. It stars Lucas Teal, who you might recognize as the actor who played Havoc in the kind of soft reboot of the X-Men franchise. And it's about a guy who has a crush on a girl, who's trying to fix his car, who, like every boy does, finds some sort of weird space alien monster that drinks
in his
gasoline
junkyard.
that just so happens to be a replacement for a drivetrain and an axle system in a broken down car. You know the story. Surprisingly, that movie opened in 7th place, garnering a third of its budget, which I love. Also, in the note, I had a headline: "Monster sucks," but Blunder World is the other one. The Underworld franchise is over for a lot of.
It has been for years. Yeah,
and it has been since whatever Rise of the Lycans, right? Was that what it was called?
Mm-hmm.
It was the third one, right?
Yep.
First one and second one, we were like, Kate Beckinsale's hot enough to get us through this, and then after
the
that,
first one was cool. It wasn't good. Cool. I did not say it was good. Yeah. It was cool. The second one
Nobody
was
said it was good. It was still cool.
Yeah, the second one was like, man, Kate Beckinsale is still hot. The third one was like, all right, we're done here.
Yeah, no one is hot enough to save this franchise. Like, it's like the how hot you are versus how much I want to hear about your cats diagram.
Right.
Like, at a certain point, I don't care how hot you are. I don't want to hear about your cats. But anyway, so Underworld, we're tired of hearing about your cats. It is 9th in its second week, and it got 6.2 million. So not a bad week for the Bye Bye Man, by the way, which was also out in theaters this week for the first time, was in 4th place, which is, I believe, a horror movie. And that's...
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
That, and then coming in 8th place, right under Monster Sucks, was a movie called Sleepless. So those three are the ones that are new to the roster.
Which is Taken, starring Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, Sleepless is a sequel to Sleepless in Seattle,
where all the characters are different, and Jamie Foxx's kid gets stolen.
Yeah. Was it Dane that called it Black Taken?
No, that was Kyle. That was the ginger giant. Okay. And I called it Tooked. Ooh, he done got tooked.
That's not fair. That's Pineapple.
Iron Fist. Finally coming around to this. Iron Fist is up next for the solo series on Netflix. It's actually going to be coming out, and then right after that one, right after in air quotes, is going to be Defenders. So Iron Fist is about Danny Rand, starring Finn Jones, not Huck Finn. Huck Finn is a literary character, if you didn't know that, for some reason. But he talks about, Finn Jones talks about Danny Rand and Iron Fist, and he says that Danny is in his adolescence in Iron Fist. The Defenders is like Danny taking responsibility and moving forward with purpose. He's craving desperately for family, for help, for guidance, for people to learn from, and for a team in the Defenders. But because of what happens in the Iron Fist series, he's very untrusting. It's really his way or no way, which that statement, or those two sentences, he's very untrusting, it's really his way or no way, is like every single piece of the Defenders. Daredevil's that way. Luke Cage is mostly that way. Jessica Jones is for sure that way. And now Danny Rand also that way. But if you haven't seen any of the footage that we've got so far for Iron Fist, I urge you to go do that right now because it looks amazing. It looks super cool. I'm really excited despite, and this is just a personal preference, despite Finn Jones having like a super weird blonde afro situation going on. I think he looks really great as Iron Fist. I think it's going to be really cool. I just cannot take that blonde afro seriously, like at all. So hopefully that changes.
It's no good.
Blowfro.
Brofro?
Blowfro.
What does that mean?
He's got a blonde afro. Okay. But anyways, it looks really good. I'm really excited to see all this talk this week about these Netflix series, especially with the Defenders. We've gotten almost all the characters series so far. We just don't have Iron Fist, and we don't really know what the Defenders has in store. So we don't have any ideas on what the plot's going to be, what anything is really going to shape up to, other than it's a team up. So I'm really excited to see that. I really hope they kind of take a little bit of a departure from where the Avengers went and keep the tone that they have and not make it like a hunky-dory buddy movie. But I'm beyond pumped to see this. Netflix has been killing it. So here's to one more. Pineapple. And that's it for the show. We made it through.
That's it for the show. We made it through.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
If you're wanting to help out with the show, be a sponsor, we got a couple ways you can do that. Check out Patreon. It's like Kickstarter but monthly. And I actually said last week this little statistic, and it was wrong. I said if 1/10 of our listeners gave $1 a month, that's actually, if 1 out of every 20 of our listeners gave $1 a month, we would be fully supported for until that stopped for the month.
If one out of 20 of all of our listeners gave $1 a month until 20 people gave, then I would have $20.
Very good. Anyways, there's also Satchel, which is a podcast player where you can tweet, you can interact while you're listening, and then you can also tip and tweet from the app. And then Amazon, of course, we are an Amazon affiliate. Check out the link at the bottom of our website. Use our search bar. Pay the same price you do on Amazon. We get a little kickback. And speaking of the website, check it out, betweenthecons.com. We got all sorts of stuff going on there for you. And if you like our theme music, check out Afixa. He's on Bandcamp. Worth it. And then make sure you guys tune in on Monday, because we're going to be back and we're going to be talking about whether or not remakes are culturally worthwhile.
Yes, it's a very heady subject, and I am very excited.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will talk to you on Monday. You guys have a great weekend.
What are you talking about?